I make stupid mistakes, part 2. No, not really a part 2, but I like how I every time I put this here, something falls down. This is actually my second take of doing that because things keep falling down, but we'll keep going this time. So not really a part 2, but I did want to talk about making mistakes or understanding when it's okay or not okay to go all in on a game. And this is all subjective, of course, because going all in for one person is a lot different than going all in on for another person. But I know from the mistakes that I've made repeatedly through my Kickstarter backing history, that a lot of the mistakes I've made are repeatable and easily avoidable. And this one, which just arrived this week, you can see my vlog where I unboxed it, is a good example of making a mistake. So let's talk about it. So I backed this game, I think the Aeon's End, and this was specifically for the Legacy of Gravehold, the box that's this Legacy box right here. This was specifically for its campaign, and I actually had avoided Aeon's End for quite a while, mostly because it's such a large, we're just going to move this down. It's such a large game that I knew I didn't want to get in, but I had a friend who kind of convinced me otherwise. And maybe it's because I love deck builder games. I'm a big fan of deck builders. I love playing cards, probably again because of my Magic history. I love having cards in my hand, coming up with combinations and strategies and playing with them. With that, I've played some amazing retail games that are also deck builders, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the video. But I wanted to talk about the trap of going all in, because I knew the moment I was backing this game that I was making a mistake. And I talked about in my vlog that there is, when am I going to have the time to play this? Not only for like being a content creator, that makes it even harder because I have to constantly keep playing new games, but just as a standard gamer, this is a lot of content. Like, this game came out, I believe, in 2017. And so people who have all the content have had many years to play it. But here I am jumping in 5 years, 7 years down the road, and it's a lot. And so, as I said, I knew when I was backing Aeon's End, it was a mistake. I even had done research prior to backing where people specifically said to get like New Age, get one of the Legacy games, get the core box, whatever. And like, they're basically saying these are only the 4 you need. You don't have to get everything else. And that was originally my plan. But, you know, the strike of FOMO really hit me hard, and I thought, you know, this is going to be a great opportunity for me to get these promos, these little packs down here. And so I decided that it was better for me to get it now rather than later, because I didn't want to miss out. So we're going to have a conversation about that in terms of what could we do to kind of help prevent things like this that are easily fixable and are not fixable, but easily avoidable, because I even had the forethought to know that this was a mistake. And the first thing is being honest with yourself, understanding that the amount of game that you get with a Kickstarter, especially some of these bigger ones that are eclipsing generally the $200 mark, there's a lot of content there, and it's sometimes more difficult to actually play all of the game. Another example is a game like Tainted Grail. It's got a lot of expansions. Many people played the core set of that game, but I've yet to meet very many people that have continually played the expansion content and some of the additional content. So be honest with yourself. How often are you going to be able to get through all of this content before the next game arrives at your door? The average gamer, I don't know the statistic, but from what I know within our communities, buys at least one game a month, and that's like at a minimum. So 12 games a year, that's a lot of gameplay. And so you have to know your own play styles. How do you play? Are you a solo gamer? Do you play competitively? Do you play cooperatively? And that'll all affect that. A majority of the time, you don't have to get all the stuff. And I knew that buying this. I should have probably adjusted my pledge levels. But unfortunately, I felt like I had to have it, because I'm a collectionist. I'm a completionist, for one. The hard part about going all in, though, number two, is that generally when I'm buying a game on Kickstarter, it's because there's an itch that I'm trying to fulfill. There's some sort of, I don't know why I have this right here. Let's just put that aside. There's an itch that we're trying to fulfill. There's something that we are trying to accomplish, or a part of our collection that we feel is lacking. For me, at the time I bought this, I didn't have as many deck builders in my collection that I wanted. I definitely felt like I played games like Moonrakers or what's the other name? What's the name of that game? Can't remember. It starts with a D, I believe. I can't remember what it's called right now. It's like the Dominion. Jeez, how can I remember that? There's so many of these great deck builders, but I wanted another one. Aeon's End, I've heard amazing things about the quality of deck building that's inside this game, and it has a unique way of refilling your hand, which is always fun, having a different way of refilling your hand. But unfortunately, in the year that I've waited for this game to arrive, I've added all of Marvel Champions. I've added a lot of Lord of the Rings, the card game. We've added now Dune Imperium, which is not fully a deck builder, but it's a deck builder. It's a deck builder worker placement game. And so now my my palette, I guess, has been cleansed or cleaned or fulfilled or whatever you want to say. Probably not palette. It's like I've been fulfilled in terms of what kind of games I want in my collection. So here comes this behemoth of a collection. I'm gonna have to, one, figure out a storage solution, which I don't know how I'm gonna do, but two, I have to figure out when am I gonna play this game over the other games that I have in my collection that I also really enjoy, like Lord of the Rings, the card game. When am I gonna play this over that? Because they're both demanding time of me. So that is the other thing we need to be aware of, is the fact that we can easily replace these games while we're waiting and fulfill that need in our collection, and then the desire of having all of this lessen. But the big thing we're talking about going all in is more of the expansion dilemma that these campaigns really throw on us. A lot of these campaigns will throw on multiple of expansions throughout a campaign for you to basically, it chases your dollar. It wants you to get more. And a lot of the content is stuff that's been stripped from the campaign or added because they believe it might be something that might benefit the game. But we don't know because no one's played the game for the most part. If it's a first edition, sometimes second editions, people have played it or played a variation of it. But for the most part, it's not been played. And that's where it gets you, because the act of kickstarting, the act of getting this game already is triggering your FOMO a little bit. And then the idea that there's going to be expansions that you're not going to be able to have access to, or they're going to be limited supply, especially Kickstarter exclusive expansions, makes you feel like you have to have them. But a majority of the games that have these expansions are not played. So when is it okay to go in on a Kickstarter all in? Like, is it ever okay? I feel like part of me, when I was writing my thoughts out for this video, made it sound like it's never okay. But there are times where I've gotten games that have all-ins, that have expansion content, and they have been successful hits for me. Specifically, and I had these written down, but I could also point to them. You can't even see them because all the games are in the way. Specifically, like Too Many Bones. But before I get to the games, specifically the games that have expansions that are easily integrated into the game. So either they don't change much of the core rules, so having to learn a new rule set is not there. Because I feel like if expansion is adding 15 more mechanics, less people want to be introduced to that, because generally what people will say is, well, let's play the core game first and then we'll add the expansion in a few games. Well, how many times do you play a game before you're moving on to the next? So you're not going to have an opportunity to play those expansions. But if you have a way to easily integrate it, it makes it better. For example, Dune Imperium, before I even played Dune Imperium, I bought the Rise of Vix expansion and just combined them. And I said, we're playing them both together for the first time. Because that way, you're going to play both of them, and you're going to experience all the additional content at the same time. So what are some of the hits? I already said one, Too Many Bones. Easily integratable into the core system. For the most part, it's been a bunch of different characters or adventures that you can just easily add into it, or there's standalone expansion games where it's basically a game that's part of the universe, uses the same rule set, but it's its own little standalone, so that it has its own rule set. So you can just learn that and play that separately without screwing up too much of the core game. Another one that I have was Uprising. So this one's way up here. And that one was just additional characters, things that flowed easily into the game, as well as additional content that was already part of the game. So basically taking the game and adding more components that are already there, so you're just having more content. So stuff like that is a great idea. Another one is Chronicles of Drenagor. That one takes all of the campaign of the story, and the stretch goals and the expansions are just integrated into that campaign. So you're able to enjoy them as you're playing through the campaign. Not a lot of games do that. Generally, they'll have you play through the core campaign, and then you can add on the expansions, enjoy those modules separately. And another one, kind of a different take, would be Ankh. I very much enjoyed Ankh's All In, because all the components are easily added into the game. It made more variety for choices in terms of choosing what kind of minions you wanted to add. And I found that the added Pantheon, I think it's Pantheon, the one that adds the Pharaoh rule, really did make the game better. And again, I played that on my third playthrough of Ankh, and I wish we just had integrated it in the beginning. So there are times where I feel like going all in is safe for someone who's backing a game, but I feel like it's generally when they're games that are able to be easily integrated. I have games like my Bloodborne, which has, I feel like 15 expansions, and I still am only working through the core game. I haven't yet touched any of the additional expansion content, and I don't know if I ever will. So that will all be, shelved until I either sell the game or move on in some way. So that's something I just want to make sure people are aware of, is understand if you're actually going to play the game. Trust yourself, or ask yourself, is this something that's actually going to hit the table, and will we be able to integrate it easily into the game? Because again, I feel like if it's easily integrated into the core game, it's an expansion that's more likely to get played. So that's going to wrap up this video. Just a quick one. Just wanted to talk about mistakes that I've made and stuff that I'm learning to try to remind myself as to why I why I do this and what can I do to fix it. I know I've been rambling a little bit in this video, so I hope you guys are okay with my rambling videos. But that's it. So if you guys want to support the channel, please remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up on the like. Really helps the YouTube algorithm. And other than that, if you really are enjoying the just end the video, Brian. Just shut up and end the video. Click subscribe. If you want more of this rambling, just click subscribe. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna sulk out of here. Bye.